What's up, Banter fam? Good morning, good morning. Welcome back to the most alpha pack show on YouTube, where I stream live every day to deliver you guys the best DeFi alpha, farming strategies, and more. I'll be streaming live every day at 5:30 p.m. AEDT or 1:30 a.m. EST, so make sure you tune in so you don't miss a thing. Today is an absolutely jam-packed show. I'm going to be covering my favorite Avax strategies, ecosystem plays to set you up to take advantage of the impending Avax season. It's going to be a massive show. You don't want to miss a beat. Let's get straight into it. Get up, get up. Good morning, everyone. As you guys can see, I actually have a new background today. A lot of people were commenting on my bedroom setup, so I've upgraded. I'm in the studio now, but yeah, we'll keep tweaking around with that. But I've got the new background set up for this video. Let's start by, before we get into anything, before we get into AVAX and these awesome ecosystem strategies I'm going to show you, let's start with addressing the market, because we're kind of in a lull at the moment. As we can see across CoinGecko, we're seeing a situation where the market is kind of quiet before the CPI later today. If you don't know what the CPI is, it's the Consumer Price Index, which will indicate the inflation levels in the US. So the market is kind of waiting, chilling out, not much movement over the last day as we kind of prepare. We're coiling up for a big move, and I think that the CPI is mostly priced in to the market. We're expecting around a 7.2% CPI. If we hit that target, I honestly think, we could set ourselves up for some serious growth. As you can see with the Bitcoin dominance, we've kind of been hovering in this level around 42%. If Bitcoin can stabilize after the CPI, I think we could really set up for a nice alt run. As you can see, the dominance could drop from these levels down to around 6%. I'm not a TA guy, but looking at this chart, it seriously seems like there's room for the Bitcoin dominance to come down, which would let the alts absolutely loose. And that is exactly what we want. We want to let the alts loose, because at the moment we're kind of at the beck and call of Bitcoin right now to determine where the market is moving next. But if we do get that push up, I think the alts are going to explode, and we want to position ourselves in the best alts. And that is exactly why you're here today, to learn about one of my favorite ecosystems, the Avalanche ecosystem, which I think is going to explode if we do get this push up. So much to talk about. And let's get straight into the show, because honestly, there's so much we got to go through today. So just looking at the L1s here, L1s are a really good risk reward play in my opinion. So if we get a major push up from the market, the layer ones are going to be the plays that we see perform the best in terms of risk reward. They may not go up as much as the ecosystem coins, but they carry less downside risk. So when the market goes up, we can see some really good growth through some of these L1s. And obviously, one of the absolute strongest layer ones on the market is Avalanche. So we got to talk about that today, and how you can take advantage in the Avalanche ecosystem itself, because it's honestly one of the coolest layer ones, one of the most innovative and useful layer ones. And I'm going to go through what Avax does, how to capitalize, and then how to really take advantage of the Avax ecosystem. So I think we got to start with what Avax actually is. So Avax is an L1 similar to Phantom, Ethereum, and it basically has this really unique system where it operates across multiple chains. So Avax has three chains, three subnets, the X chain, the P chain, and the C chain, which can take pressure off the original blockchain, which allow the network to be a lot faster and scale. So Avax is really good. It's one of the fastest blockchains in crypto, and it basically is unlocked by these three chains. So obviously the C chain, the P chain, and the X chain allow the network to operate really, really fast. And that's why we see the TPS is so high and the gas fees are so low. So the technology here is really what's underpinning the growth in the Avax ecosystem. If we didn't have this amazing tech setup, we wouldn't be able to explode in the Avax ecosystem. So it's important to kind of understand how it works. And there's a really good article on this called What is Avalanche by the Shrimpy team that you can look up if you want to find out a little bit more about Avax. But one of the most appealing things to me about Avalanche is the DeFi ecosystem, but also the gaming ecosystem that's building under it. We've seen this game called Crabada, which is the main blockchain game on Avax, really, really explode lately. And I know Hustle covered this in his show, but this is kind of what sets Avax apart. You know, unlike a network like Phantom, which is mostly dedicated on DeFi, we're seeing, you know, games be able to scale and perform on Avax pretty successfully. So this game called Crabada, which is a game built on Avax, is a play and earn game which allows you to earn yield, deploy, loot, mine using your team of crabs. Once again, Hustle covers this in his video. I know he's a big, big fan of this project, and it really shows us the power of Avalanche and what we can unlock here. It has its own token as well if you want to get involved there, and you can even stake it on XJoe to earn yield. So this is a cool little project, and it kind of just shows us the utility of the Avax ecosystem, gives us a little sneak peek into the future of what we can expect on the Avax ecosystem. But gaming aside, DeFi is really where the Avalanche growth is coming from at the moment. The real growth we've seen in the Avalanche ecosystem has eclipsed anything we've seen over the past few weeks, including Phantom. Like, you guys know I'm a huge Phantom fan, but I can't possibly ignore the huge Avax rush we've seen lately. So in the past 7 days, Avax has led the top 10 outside of Tron and Elrond for TVL increase. It's actually increased 21% over the last 7 days, which is crazy. If we go and we look at Avax's TVL, it kind of peaked around 16 billion. And then it came down. It pulled back really, really significantly as the bees, you know how bees like to buzz around from layer 1 to layer 1. They left Avax. They left to things like Phantom and Luna. And now the bees are coming back. They're coming back to Avax because they've seen, wow, we can earn some really, really cool yields on Avax. And that's what I'm going to show you today, how to take advantage of the super high yields that we're now seeing in the Avalanche ecosystem. So we kind of bottomed out in TVL around 9 billion, and now we're pushing back up to 12 billion. So Avalanche is super awesome, and we're seeing a huge push up in TVL. And just look at this. Look at the last 7 days in the ecosystem. An absolute explosion of liquidity coming into the ecosystem through things like Aave. We saw Platypus Finance make a push up, Yield Yak, Beefy. I mean, the Avalanche ecosystem is exploding right now, and it's really something you've got to take note of. Because here's the thing. If we do get this major push up from Bitcoin, if the CPI data comes out and it's good and it's positive for the market, and Bitcoin finally unlocks and pushes to the upside, we're going to see the most dominant L1s and their ecosystems perform the strongest. And clearly, as we can see from the last week of TVL growth, Avalanche is one of those ecosystems. So if we get the push up, we want to be positioned in the best possible projects. I think Avax is one of them. I also think Phantom's one of them. Luna's one of them. But today's video is about how to maximize yield in Avax, which is exactly why we're here and we're looking at these stats, and it's going absolutely berserk. But TVL isn't the only thing that's going berserk. Look at these daily transactions. It's absolutely mental to see such a huge growth in daily transactions. It's almost a linear upwards trend. We haven't really seen any major fluctuations from the Avalanche C chain. We've seen this kind of continuous growth up and up and up on the daily transactions chart to now we're over 1 million transactions a day. Ethereum, on the other hand, I think it does 1.3 a day. So Avalanche is almost overtaking Ethereum for transactions. It's on par with Phantom for transactions. So we're seeing the network actually being utilized in day-to-day use, which is super bullish, because when we look at an L1, we want to verify 2 things. We want to verify it has the technology, which Avax does, but we also want to verify that it has the stats to back it up. And we can see through the transactions, we're getting that real usage, that real user growth coming in on the Avalanche blockchain. So that is the reason why we are discussing this, because you cannot deny the growth on Avalanche. And the price hasn't quite caught up to some of the stats we're seeing yet, because obviously the market's been volatile recently. It hasn't had a chance to grow since it topped out around $140. We also see the addresses are following the exact same pattern as we're seeing in the transactions. The addresses have pushed up to almost 2 million distinct addresses now, which puts it in the top, I think, 5 or 6 blockchains for addresses. So it's obviously one of the biggest blockchains, and that's why it commands a top 10 ranking on CoinGecko in terms of projects because it's not only the most technologically sound or one of them, but it also has the addresses and the transactions to back it up. Now, yes, I am going to show you how to earn yield on Avax, I promise. But the reason why I'm going through these fundamentals first is because obviously if you're yield farming, you want to be bullish on the tokens you're farming. There's no point in farming Avalanche if you're not actually bullish on the token itself. So I'm giving you guys the objective data for you to be able to make a decision on whether the Avalanche ecosystem is an ecosystem where you want to farm. If it's not, don't bother farming there. I believe it is, and that's why I'm going to show you some strategies today, how you can take advantage. But obviously, the layer one itself isn't where the real growth comes from. It's all well and dandy investing in a layer one, and you can make some great profits. As I said earlier, they offer great risk reward. However, most of the growth is going to come from the ecosystem. And the ecosystem plays, as I'm showing you on my screen, this is one of my Avax watch lists, is where you're going to get the insane growth. So when the market does turn and we do get a major push up, this is where you're going to benefit the most. It's these ecosystem projects that underpin the success of the Avalanche network, just like we saw across Phantom with the awesome projects on Phantom, and we saw across Ethereum in the past. We're seeing it on Avax as well. There's a real thriving ecosystem kind of growing underneath the L1. Now, I just want to point out a couple facts when it comes to price, because I think this will help you make some good decisions on how to position your portfolio. We can see over the past week, Avalanche is up 32%. We're actually not seeing the ecosystem projects out pumping Avax. Typically, as you know, since ecosystem projects are smaller, when the L1 pumps, so Avax pumps, they tend to pump harder. And when Avalanche drops, they tend to drop harder. But over the past week, we've actually seen some of these main projects not pump quite as hard. I mean, Joe's only up 10% over the past week, despite Avalanche being up 32%. So they're lagging behind. And this is actually super bullish because if we look at the flow of funds, Avalanche pumps first, the L1 runs first, and then liquidity siphons off and filters down into the other ecosystem projects. So it starts with Avalanche pumping, and that's a great indicator to me that we're going to see this liquidity distribute amongst the ecosystem projects. So we want to be positioning ourselves. Obviously, diversify accordingly. You don't want to all be eco. You want to keep the majority of your holdings farming Avax, but it's also good to think about, if you want to get those higher returns, thinking about some of these ecosystem projects that are coming through. So it's really important to have some of these projects on your watch list. I just talked about Crabada, but I'll be going through some of the awesome DeFi opportunities in this video. And it all starts with Joe. Joe right now, in my opinion, is the best risk reward play on Avax in terms of the ecosystem projects. Joe is the main DEX and AMM on Avax. So it's a decentralized exchange, but it also offers leverage trading. It offers some awesome farms, awesome pools, and it is the main hub of DeFi in the Avalanche ecosystem. So if you're building an Avax portfolio, Joe is an absolute non-negotiable. You're going to want Joe in your portfolio if you're investing in Avax, because that's one of the best risk reward plays in my opinion. Now, if we actually go and we look at Joe and we look at some of the price action on Joe, it's actually pretty good value right now. Even after the pump after the last week, we're still seeing some really nice value. So it bottomed out around 85 to 90 cents. It's pushed back up over the past week to 144, but that's only, around a 10 to 15% growth. Whereas it was at 461 at its highs. So it's still down around, if we're going to get back up to our highs, it's around a 300% pump from right now. So you can make almost 4x if Joe comes back up to reach its highs. So this is one of the projects. Yes, it's the DeFi hub of Avalanche. If I say Phantom by accident, please excuse me. I think I said that before. But it's the DeFi hub of Avalanche. So what we're going to see is, if the Avalanche DeFi ecosystem exploding as it is, Joe is probably going to be one of the best performers in this respect. So it can pump. If it just gets back up to highs, it can pump a 3, 4, 5x from here. So I guess the good thing about Joe is that we're sitting in a nice spot. We don't want to be catching these coins at their highs. We don't want to be buying coins when they're here. These are the times where you want to be looking to dollar cost average. When things are low, when things have come down, 50, 60, 70% off their highs, this is when you really want to be taking advantage. So I want to show you how to earn yield on Joe, because obviously you don't just want to be holding this token in your wallet. As we can see, the fully diluted value is 718 million compared to a market cap of 239, which means there's emissions, right? Which isn't a bad thing. It just means that if you're holding the token in your wallet, you're not setting yourself up for success. You want to be staking it and earning yield on this token to take advantage of this emissions curve. So I'll be showing you how to do that right now and how to actually take advantage of this. First, I have to show you some stats though, because if you're going to farm Joe, you need to obviously be confident in the project. So we're going to look at some stats before I show you how to farm Joe to verify what's actually happening in the ecosystem. So in the last 30 days, Joe has accumulated 300,000 users on Avax. If we compare this to some of the other dexes across the other chains, Quick at 265, Sushi at 220, Boo on Phantom has 200. Joe is leading the pack. Obviously, this will be behind Uniswap and PancakeSwap, but it's pretty crazy that we're getting this major user growth in something like Joe, and it's showing that the bees are coming back over the past month and using Avax. It's one of the biggest DeFi ecosystems in crypto, and Joe unlocks the key to this. So that's why I love it as a project. Look at this massive user growth. It's undeniable, the user growth we've gotten on Joe. Also, I did this tweet yesterday on my Twitter. Go follow the Twitter if you're not already. I post lots and lots of alpha over there, and I'll also be recapping this show on my Twitter after this, so make sure you follow me over there. But I've been covering some statistics on my Twitter to do with dexes and market cap to trading volume ratios. And we can see Joe is sitting at a market cap to trading volume ratio of 0.74. Yesterday, when I took this snapshot, it did 300 million worth of trades. 300 million worth of trading volume in a day. And we look at the Joe price and it's only 239. So this indicates to me that we're still sitting at a good spot in terms of PE, in terms of market cap to trading volume. We are still sitting in a nice spot where it's safe to accumulate. Now, I wouldn't recommend aping in now. Obviously, take a DCA approach with all your coins just to be, safe. And because if we do get a pullback from Bitcoin, the smaller caps will be hit more. But I'm just kind of presenting the picture here for you guys that we're sitting in a pretty good spot. That since Joe has a market cap to trading volume ratio of 74, that's pretty advantageous compared to Uniswap 3.18, Cake at 4.2. We see Boo and Serum are actually some other pretty advantageous dexes as well. So this statistic that I posted on my Twitter is also really good, and you've got to start taking note of this market cap to trading volume ratio, because that is going to really dictate if something's overvalued or not when it comes to dexes. It's one of the main indicators that I use. So keep advantage of this. The way you do this is through CoinGecko. You go into CoinGecko and you can click on decentralized exchanges to actually get the dex trading volume. Super cool stats to actually look at. Now, I promised I'd show you how to stake Joe. So if you're interested in it, this is exactly how you do it. So Joe actually has a protocol reward distribution function under XJoe. So pretty much all the fees that the Trader Joe platform accrues through deposits, pools, and swaps, it distributes its revenue or a portion of its revenue to its Joe holders because it wants to reward the governance holders of the protocol. So you can come in and you can click on trade and you can purchase Joe. You can swap Avax for Joe. You can swap stablecoins for Joe. All you need is a MetaMask and access to the Avalanche network, and you can purchase Joe on Trader Joe under the trade pool here. Once you've purchased Joe, you can come into the stake function of the website. And what the stake function allows you to do is stake your Joe for XJoe in order to earn 31.5% APR. So you can come, buy Joe, stake Joe, and earn 31.35% APR by staking Joe. Now, this is really good for a couple reasons. One, no impermanent loss. The issue with impermanent loss on tokens is that if you're pairing it with another token, it's not as efficient because if something pumps, you can lose a small amount of opportunity cost, compared to the gains you could have made if you held the token itself. The good thing about this XJoe pool is what it allows you to do is actually keep your Joe. You don't need to pool it with anything. You're just taking your Joe. It's a single-sided stake and it's paying 31%. That's actually pretty advantageous if you ask me. 31.35% is a pretty good return on your Joe. Like, it's one of the better governance models I've seen, up there with things like Beethoven X, because it's distributing rewards. So the more that the platform's used, the more that the Joe platform is utilized, traded on, swapped on, the more people entering, and the higher the TVL goes, the more these XJoe holders will receive. So it's an easy way to earn yield on your Joe, and that is through XJoe, and I really like this strategy. The next thing I want to show you on the Joe platform are some of the farms, because you can actually take advantage of Joe's reward distribution and its emissions through using some of these farms. And they're offering some pretty insane rates on the Joe website itself. So it's something to not ignore here. Now, if you go onto the farm tab of Joe and you scroll down and you search in Joe here, there's tons of farms, by the way. This is just for the Joe token itself. Joe Avax is actually paying 46%, and Joe USDC is paying 46% as well. These are pretty damn good yields for these pairs, in my opinion. And there's something called Joe Rush, which kicks in every now and then and boosts these yields to insane levels. So right now, they're actually pretty low. Last week, I saw these, I think, around 100%. So these yields can significantly go up, but 46% right now is a pretty good deal, in my opinion. On this, especially this Joe USDC pool, I really like. So how do you take advantage of this pool, and how do you get into this pool? I will show you how to do that. So on Trader Joe, it's all done in the one interface. You can click on pool here, and you can actually add and create your own liquidity pool. It's just loading right now, but you can create your own pool and pretty much zap in and select 2 tokens and create an LP. Now, what creating an LP does is it enables you to come into the farm tab, and when you're looking at something like Joe, the Joe Avax pool, you can take your LP and you can invest it for 46.97. Super simple. It's all done on the Joe site under pool, farm, and trade. It can all be done under the one interface, which is really awesome. And this is one other way to stake Joe. I think XJoe is the safer play, to be perfectly honest, because you're only taking a 14% hit versus the farming, but you're not risking a permanent loss. So this would be honestly the safest play, and this is probably the method I would recommend. Not financial advice, but that's what I recommend. However, these farms are also really cool when you get the boosts. So just keep an eye out for these farm rewards, because as we know, APRs in crypto fluctuate so regularly. But if you're on your toes and you're watching videos like mine, I can keep you updated on when these rewards go up significantly, when they decrease. And that's why following my Twitter is really good as well, because I won't always have time to come on live, throughout the day. I can just chuck out a tweet. It's really easy for me to get instant alpha across to you guys. So that's why being on Twitter is also super important. But I'm going to keep my best, do my best to keep you guys updated in the ecosystem to give you guys the best possible yields. Now, I've got a Degen play right now for you. It's an extremely Degen play. And I just want to preface this by saying this is high risk. This is a casino. What I'm about to show you, it is a complete casino. So if you're going to invest in this, expect to lose everything. All right? Now that I've gotten that out of the way, I can show you what the token is. Expect to lose everything. This is an absolute Degen play, but it does have a lot of upside, obviously, because in crypto, high risk, high reward. And I want to show you this coin. It's called Tractor Joe. Now, if you don't know what Tractor Joe is, it's actually a meme coin that was created underneath the Joe brand. So Joe themselves created a meme coin called Tractor, and you can actually buy this on the Joe website. And what this is, it's a meme coin, but it also allows you to burn Joe. So it was kind of created with the function of being able to burn Joe. Now, we haven't seen much utility for this coin. I admitted, when this first came out, I aped in and I lost a lot of money. It was a terrible investment decision. I lost quite a bit. I was just having a bit of fun. But now at these low levels, it's got me thinking, what if they can introduce some utility? I've heard some interesting theories about how they're actually going to use this in the Discord. So this might be something to keep an eye out on. Extremely high risk. Expect to lose everything. But if we can get back up to highs, it's a 20x. So I mean, if you're just going to chuck in, just instead of your coffee this morning, maybe have a little play on this, you might end up, with some decent gains. So that is an extremely high risk Degen play that I want to show you quickly relating to Joe. So we've verified that Joe is a really nice place to stake. We've verified Crabada is a good game, but I want to show you another platform now that I really like and I think is offering some insane yields in the Avax ecosystem, because we want to be able to earn money on Avax as well. We don't just want to earn money off the tokens like Joe, because they are higher risk. If you're holding Avax in your wallet, and I suggest that if you're in the ecosystem, you'd want to be holding Avax tokens in your wallet. You want to be able to take advantage of the Avax token itself, and there is no better way to do that than on Pangolin. this is a super, super awesome place to stake your Avax, guys. Pangolin is offering some of the most lucrative pools in the Avax ecosystem. So if you pair your UST and your Avax together, you can earn 67% APR on your UST Avax. This is one of the highest yields in the ecosystem. And there's another really cool thing to do with this pool. You actually get to earn your rewards in Luna, Avax, and Pangolin. So it's spreading your rewards across 3 different tokens, which is super unique because you're actually receiving Luna by staking Avax. If you don't know, Avax actually partnered with Luna. So Luna, the UST, was listed on some Avax dexes. So now the Luna ecosystem and the Avax ecosystem are way more integrated, which allows us to unlock pools like this. We can receive Luna from your Avax rewards. And I think that's a super unique function of Avax now that we're seeing this UST integration. And by the way, it's one of the reasons I'm super bullish on Luna, because UST is spreading its tentacles into every DeFi ecosystem, and this only makes me more bullish on Luna as well. But back to the strategy, how you actually do this is you want to pool UST and Avax together. So firstly, you want to make sure you have UST in your MetaMask on the Avalanche network. There's a really, really simple way to do this. You can simply, and it's getting me onto that, on the swap section, you can come onto Pangolin, go onto swap, and you can swap for UST. You can swap Avax for UST. You can swap pretty much any token on the Avax network for UST. This is one of the easiest ways to do it. I think you can even swap USDT, USDC for UST. So this is really simple now that UST is integrated on Pangolin. You can swap straight for UST. So that's the first way to get UST onto your Avax account. The next way is if you have UST on Terra, because I know a lot of you probably use Anchor Protocol and you may have it on your Terra Station wallet. You can use the Terra bridge and send it across from Terra to Binance. And then once you've got your UST on Binance, you can use multi-chain to swap it from Binance to Avax. A bit of a convoluted way of doing things, but that is for the people out there that have their UST on their Terra Station. You go from the Terra bridge, Terra to BSC, and then you use multi-chain, BSC, to Avax. That is the other way, but the far easier way would just be to directly do it on Pangolin. Cool. Now you've got your UST, you've got your Avax. We need to pair them together because if we want to make best use of these yields, this 70% yield, you want to be pooling them together to make best use of it. So it's as simple as this. You go into the pool function of Pangolin, you click create pair, and you can add liquidity between Avax and UST. It's as simple as that, and you can connect your wallet, approve the transaction, and create the LP tokens. Once you've got Avalanche and UST paired together as an LP, you can come back into farm, click on version 2. So these are the new pools under version 2. Scroll down to the pool that I just showed you, UST Avax, and hit deposit. It's really that simple, guys. You just got to pool your Avax and your UST together on Pangolin, and you can start receiving the Pangolin token, which I am bullish on. It's got high emissions, so you got to be careful of that, but it has some great utility, so it's not one to sleep on. PNG, Luna, we obviously love Luna as a blockchain, and we love Avax as well. You get to receive a nice trio basket of rewards. Now, I want to talk about Impermanent Loss just a little bit, and I don't want to talk about it for too long here, but I feel like I should make you guys aware of it. Obviously, when you're pairing Avax with UST, the pool is going to rebalance to keep 50-50. At all times, your UST holdings and your Avax holdings in an LP must be paired 50-50 in order for the LP to work. That is what an LP is. So you can suffer impermanent loss if the price significantly decreases, the price of Avax significantly increases or decreases. We know UST is worth $1, so we don't need to worry about that increasing or decreasing. But Avax, obviously it fluctuates. Its price fluctuates up and down. So if it pumps, it'll rebalance a percentage of your portfolio into UST. Now you might be worried, right? However, I have a compelling reason to not be worried about this, and that is the fact you're earning a 68% APR. If you go onto the impermanent loss calculator and you verify, let's say Avax 10x's to $880 from 88, the impermanent loss on a 10x from Avax is 42%. So you're losing, and I say losing quote unquote because you'd still be gaining in this scenario, but you're losing compared to if you were holding it in your wallet, 42% impermanent loss. So if you invested $1,000, you'd have $5,500 if held. But if you pooled them, Avax and UST, you'd only have 3.1K. So you're still 3xing, you're just not 5xing. So you're losing 42% impermanent loss. However, note this is 42%. On Pangolin, you're earning 68%. So you're earning 68%, which means even if Avax 10x's, you're still in a much better position than if you just held them in your wallet. So that's why I kind of like to pool my Avax with my UST and my Phantom with my USDC. I don't do all of it for smart contract risk, but I like to farm because what it enables us to do is earn a yield that can offset impermanent loss. And in most cases, you're going to come out ahead in the LPs than if you just kept it in your wallet. Obviously, the 68% isn't really 68% because if we compound this daily, it's 95%. So if you come in every day and you sell your rewards, your Luna and your Avax rewards back into USDT Avax and you recompound, you're earning 95%. That's going to basically offset a crazy amount of impermanent loss, which is why I'm super, super bullish on strategies like this. So Pangolin is another great place to be able to stake your Avax. It's an amazing place to earn yield. There's tons of other pools as well. I highly recommend checking it out, but that is another great place to stake. So we've covered a couple strategies now, but I just want to go back and have a look at my watch list for a second and kind of point you guys in the right direction when it comes to taking advantage of the ecosystem. So the Avax ecosystem could be set for explosion if the Avax token significantly pumps. Obviously, we're waiting for this CPI data, but if Bitcoin makes a huge push up, we're going to see some of these L1s push really hard. And as I confirmed before, the Avax ecosystem coins have actually been lagging slightly behind the L1 itself. And this is a super bullish sign because if the Avax token pumps first, liquidity can be siphoned down into the ecosystem coins. That is usually how we see the flow of funds in the ecosystem. The L1 goes first. The ecosystem projects and the small caps go second, and that is how we can make some serious gains in the ecosystems. Joe is only up 10.8% this week, still a really good buy. Hustle has a great tutorial on Crabada where you can go and see how he earns yield on that. That's up 44%. That's a game. I talked about Pangolin and how you can earn yield there. That's up 30% this week. The Pangolin token is a really interesting one. I think it can do quite well because it's offering some of the best pools on Avax, some of the best rewards on Avax. Be careful of emissions. So you always want to look at a token, let's say Pangolin. You want to look at the fully diluted versus the market cap. We can see the fully diluted is 241 versus 37. So if you buy Pangolin, similar to Trader Joe, you want to be staking these tokens because you don't want them sitting in your wallet when you could be taking advantage of these emissions. Like, it's as simple as that. Emissions aren't something to be scared of. Fully diluted isn't a value to be scared of. It's saying you got to take advantage. If coins are going to be printed, you want to take advantage of that growth because Pangolin is paying some pretty crazy rewards. If we go onto the Pangolin site, we can see some absolutely crazy pools here. PNG Avax is paying 30%, not as high as it was last week. We even have dual Avax here. So there's a lot of options for staking Pangolin. Also on Trader Joe, there's some great pools paying 50% on Pangolin. So that's another good play. Defrost Finance, I really like. It's called Melt. This token has some insane fundamentals behind it. I'm going to have to go into more depth on Defrost next week because I have a crazy strategy I want to share with you guys. It's an absolute crazy strategy on how to make almost like 150% to 200% on your Avalanche on Defrost. But I'm going to show you that next week because this show has already been 30 minutes and that strategy would probably take me a solid 20 to explain. And I want to make sure I get it perfectly right for you guys because it's going to be quite a complicated one. But I think it was really important in today's show to kind of set ourselves up, set the scene here, set our scene where we're sitting with Avalanche, where we're sitting with the ecosystem tokens so that when and if, and I think it's when Avax explodes, how you can actually take advantage. And next week, I'll go more into depth on my Defrost strategy for how we can really, really solidify our yield in the Avax ecosystem. I hope you guys enjoyed today's show. Drop some absolute alpha here with some of these trading strategies. XJoe is a great play. As I said, Tractor is a really, really risky one. This is a casino. And Pangolin is offering one of the best stable L1 pools in crypto, in my opinion. UST Avax is one of the best pools in crypto, and that's something you should also look at taking advantage of. I hope you guys enjoyed the show today. I hope I was able to teach you something and as we delve in a little bit more into the Avalanche ecosystem. I will be live every single day at 5:30 p.m. Australian time, 1:30 a.m. EST. I hope all of you enjoyed the show. There's going to be some super awesome stuff coming from the show in the future to do with DeFi and yield farming. So you want to be coming in every day and tuning in to make sure you don't miss out on any alpha. Thank you guys for watching. I will see you in the next one. Peace out. Have a lovely day.